So my name is Alyssa Ambulo, and I am from Virginia Beach, Virginia in the United States. I grew up in the Catholic faith. My mom always told me that Jesus was an important part of our life, but I personally didn't know why. Throughout that time in school, I had to achieve academic success, which ultimately would lead me to, graduating with the highest honor in school, and then pursuing a college degree and getting that. And so throughout that time, I was living for the world. I had to fit in. I had to, but keep on top of my grades. So be social and the balance of getting the best grades. It was hard to juggle, but over time, I achieved all that. I had financial success. I was in with the popular crowd. I was going to all the best parties and getting on the VIP list. On the outside, it looked like I was living the perfect life. I was living such a lavish life, but on the inside, I still felt like something was missing. And so with the help of the people that I was surrounded with good influences, with my friends, they were involved in youth ministry, and so they invited me to volunteer as a young adult volunteer, working with the youth. I was growing deeper and deeper in my faith, finding my identity in Christ through what I had gone through, and now me rediscovering who Jesus was in my life. I was able to be that hope. I was able to be that beacon of hope and light to the young people who were struggling, who were confused, who didn't know, who were scared, who were afraid, and who weren't sure about this whole Jesus thing. And so a big incident happened in my life. My grandmother had passed away. She raised me. I spent a lot of my time with her, and the core values of being Catholic, praying the rosary, praying in general, she had taught me that early on in my life. And it wasn't until her death is when I remembered that she was such a great influence. My grandmother had passed away, which was very hard for me. It was expected because she was a bit older, but it was very hard for me. Throughout that time, in order to grieve properly, to mourn her death, I took myself out of work for about a week. And throughout that time, I just reevaluated my whole life. As I was mourning, as I was grieving, I reflected back on the week prior, before my grandmother had passed, before I got news that my grandmother had passed. And I asked Jesus, sitting at my desk in front of all those screens, what more do I have to do in order for me to change my life? It was very unfortunate, obviously, that my sign was my grandmother passing, but it took me away from work. It took me away from the life that I thought that I wanted. It took me away from the distractions of the external things, what the world was telling me to do. I reevaluated everything, rediscovered prayer in a deeper way. I knew that where God was leading me to was to work with the youth. So shortly thereafter, I applied to this thing called Net Ministries Australia. Little by little, confirmations on that's exactly where God was leading me. Went through the interview, got accepted. All the things that in my life that I had to leave, my career, I was afraid that my boss would be upset with me. And after I was accepted onto Net, and I shared with him that I was going to be doing mission work in another country, he was actually super excited and he was proud. And I was dreading that he would be so upset. And with my family, they wanted me to be happy in whatever that was. And they could see that my work, my job, my corporate job wasn't fulfilling me. So through all of that, I went on a year of mission. I did Net Australia. God had called me to help those young people that were sitting in the pews at St. John the Apostle. And now God had called me, definitely, very much confirmed it for me, to minister to the youth of Australia. Being in Australia, I was able to really live out my purpose. My purpose was to help those people, to give hope. I realized that my call is to be a missionary, is to spread the gospel, is to be that light and hope to other people. So I really want to encourage you whatever your life is, whatever mistakes you've made in the past, I've made many. I'm not a perfect person. I'm imperfect, and I'm okay with that. So I encourage you, whatever it is, wherever you're at in life, wherever you're at in your journey with God, with Jesus, even if you're not or you haven't started that journey yet, to take a step out onto the water, to see what God has for you. He's reaching out to you. He has something prepared for you, and He wants you to know that He loves you.
A lot of talk in our church today about the new evangelization, and we might ask, well, what's new about the new evangelization? One thing that's new is that we're trying to renew the faith in people who should already be Catholic, should already be Christian. Individuals, families, communities, whole cultures that need to rediscover the gospel. And so what's new is that they're getting a new shot in the arm of faith, of evangelization. Another thing that's new about it is the way that we do that. And the new media and groups like Shalom World TV are very important for bringing the gospel anew to our cultures, to our families, to each of us individually. And so I encourage all the viewers of Shalom World TV, and I encourage Shalom World TV themselves to keep up the good work, to keep watching this channel and to keep up the good work of presenting the Catholic faith to our world today.
Shalom World, God's own channel.